Hello and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. My name is Joris and today I am here with the fifth part of my series about European ETFs that invest into European companies, and it's the edition of 2025, and in this fifth video of the series I am going to discuss ETFs that have a dividend yield that is higher than 4%. So you know the rules, only European ETFs that invest in European companies, so they are all UCITS ETFs. They also distribute a dividend, of course, definitely in this video, more than 4% a year, and they are not swap or synthetically replicated. If you know of any other European-based ETF that I missed in the 41 ETFs that I'm going to name in this series, please comment the ticker or the ISIN code down below in the comment section, and I promise you that I will include that ETF into the revision of this series for next year. And I already discussed 27 ETFs so far, and in this video I'm going to go up to 31, but I'm going to discuss 6 ETFs. So 2 of them you will have already heard about if you watched the previous videos of the series, but I will name them directly, and I will say directly that I already mentioned them in a previous video. So in the first videos I talked about MSCI Europe Index ETFs, then I talked in the second video about the STOXX 50 ETFs. There were 8 of them there, and another one that I included in that video was the STOXX Europe 50 Index ETF. And in the next one I included the more diversified ETFs, 5 of them, with the STOXX Euro 600 ETFs and 2 FTSE Europe Index ETFs. And last video I talked about dividend ETFs with the quality sign in their name, and now, as I said, I'm going to talk about 6 dividend ETFs that have a dividend yield that is higher than 4%. So not all of them will be good, and as you might know, the previous time when I made this kind of series in 2024, and I was talking about high yielding dividend ETFs for European companies, there was one ETF with CBSDEIV as a ticker from Lixor, STOXX Select Dividend 30. That was included in that video, but now it isn't around anymore, it is liquidated. So in the previous video I also mentioned the one with 22 million invested towards it and the one with 8 million invested towards it. It can be that those ETFs are going to be liquidated because there is not enough money invested towards it. For me, that's not a reason not to start investing towards it, but a lot of people, they have a margin and they say, yeah, under 100 million euros I don't invest towards that ETF because it can be liquidated. I think that's stupid, because then no new ETFs can start, and maybe a new ETF is just what we need as starting investors, or yeah, not what I need as a starting investor. I'm already investing for almost 30 years, so I'm not a beginning investor, but some new investors maybe need a new ETF, and if everybody keeps saying that you need a certain amount, yeah, no new ETFs are going to start, so that's really stupid. So the first one, it's one that I already mentioned in the previous video. So you have the quality mark here. It's the Franklin European Quality Dividend UCITS ETF. My wife and I, we invest towards the FLXD in our ETF portfolio, and in the coming week I'm going to buy more of FLXD with the dividend that I'm going to receive from SDGPEX from our ETF portfolio. Sadly enough, the total expense ratio is 0.25%. So once again, when you have dividend ETFs, especially here in Europe, the costs are going to be higher than for other dividend ETFs. which focus less on dividends. So 0.25% is still okay, but I like to see it lower. You can buy one share on the SIX stock exchange for 31.97 Swiss francs, for euro, I should say. And just remember, it's all recorded in the weekend after the 11th of July. So it's all with data from the 11th of July, the end of the trading day of the 11th of July. There are 50 holdings into this ETF, almost 400 million invested into this one. And yeah, the past 5 years, it is up 87.46%. And it's again the first ETF that is mentioned in this video. So you know this is the highest amount that you are going to see for the 5-year performance in this video. So once again, it's the one of the best performing ETFs. In the previous one, it was LDG. You didn't have a value of 5 years there, but yeah, it was really outperforming in the 1 year and the 3-year area there. So just so you know, FLXD is definitely a good one, and my wife and I are really happy that it scored really good in the past 5 years. So we had a nice return from it. Pays out quarterly dividends, and dividend yield is 4.27%. Here you see the dividend payments that it made in the past year, and then we can go to the next one. And that's the EUHD, and that's the Invesco Euro STOXX High Dividend Low Volatility UCITS ETF. You know that I like the Invesco ETFs that have high dividend low volatility in their name. I already made a video about those ETFs, and yeah, I must say Invesco is really performing up to beat with those ETFs. The total expense ratio is maybe a bit too high, 0.30% here. You can buy one share for 27.795 Swiss francs per share, and there are 50 holdings into this ETF, and there is almost 200 million invested towards this ETF. Fully replicated type, and in the past year it is up 25.27%, so really nice performance in the past year. The past 3 years it is up almost 60%, and in the past 5 years it is up almost 81%. Pays out quarterly dividends in the months March, June, September and December, and the dividend yield is 5.68%. That's the highest number that you will see, but there is another one that has just the same dividend yield as this one. It will come a bit later in the video, but 5.68% is a quite nice dividend yield, of course, especially with the 5-year performance of 80.94%. Yeah, it's included, of course. The 5.68% is always included in this is the total return. So don't be mistaken. You don't add those numbers up. It's already included into this number. And here you can see the past 4 dividend payments that it made in the past year. And then you have the IDVY, iShares Euro Dividend UCITS ETF, with a total expense ratio of 0.40%. So you see iShares BlackRock, sometimes they have a really high total expense ratio. Once again here, 0.40%. Yeah, why they don't have it at 0.20 or 0.25, I don't know. You have to ask them, but people keep investing towards iShares ETFs, although others are way cheaper. So yeah, who am I? I can just make a video about it and make it clear that it's a quite expensive ETF to invest towards. So you can buy one share for 20.525 Swiss francs per share. You have 31 holdings into this ETF, and there is over 1 billion invested towards this ETF. So you see the previous two had way less invested towards it. It's cheaper, and they also outperformed this one. Okay, the past year it really is performing quite well, 29.06% up. The past 3 years it's also quite nice, 54.89% up. When in the past 5 years it is underperforming FLXD with 80.05%, so still quite nice, 80.05% return. even beating the MSCI Europe index. So not bad at all, but compared to FLXD, it's underperforming. You have 4 dividends per year, and the dividend yield is 4.56%. And yeah, once again, around June, the highest dividend payment in the quarterly payments that it made in the past year. Then you have the XD3E, another ETF that you already heard about because it also has the quality dividend trademark in its name. So in the previous video I already talked about XD3E, the Xtrackers Euro STOXX Quality Dividend UCITS ETF, total expense ratio of 0.30%, Luxembourg based, and you can buy one share for 26.30 euros a piece. There are 50 holdings into this ETF, 415 million invested towards this one, and in the past year it is up 23.21%, the past 3 years it is up 65.39%, and in the past 5 years it is up almost 80%. It pays out quarterly dividends and the dividend yield is 4.21%. And here you can see the dividend payments that it made in the past 12 months. And then we have the DFE ETF from WisdomTree, Europe SmallCap Dividend UCITS ETF, with a total expense ratio of 0.38%. And here you have the dividend trade name in its name and SmallCap working against it to have a lower total expense ratio, because every time when you see SmallCap, they tend to increase the total expense ratio with a bit. So here it is 0.38%, but still it's 0.02% cheaper than the iShares one, just so you know. The shares you can buy for 18.70 Swiss francs a piece on the SIX stock exchange, and there are 390 holdings into this ETF, so that's a really nice one. And unfortunately there is only 36 million invested towards this ETF. It's a fully replicated type, and in the past year it is up 8.84%, in the past 3 years it is up 32.62%, and in the past 5 years it is up 73.19%. It pays out now 4 dividends per year. It was only 2 in the previous video that I made, so that's really important that you know that. And it pays out, normally it was in January and in July, but now it also started paying out in April and in October, and the dividend yield is 4.73%. It's one of the first times that I see it that an ETF starts paying, instead of half-yearly dividend, quarterly dividends. So I'm really happy to see this. And if you look at the dividend payments, they are also quite nice. So yeah, I think it's a really good decision of WisdomTree to start paying quarterly dividends for this ETF. They should lower the total expense ratio a bit, but yeah, I also understand that with only 36 million invested into it, you have to cover the cost, of course. So it's a borderline, and the performance in the past 5 years wasn't that great either. But yeah, it's difficult when you don't have a lot of inflow into an ETF. You can't always choose when you buy stuff, and when you can start to choose when you start buying stuff, then you can really have an influence on the performance. So here WisdomTree doesn't have a lot to work with, so they really are following the index to the dot. So they aren't underperforming, they aren't overperforming the index, and this is then what you get, a performance of 73.19% over 5 years. And then you have the EEI, the WisdomTree Europe Equity Income UCITS ETF, so another one from WisdomTree. Total expense ratio of 0.29%. You have one share for 20.396 Swiss francs on the SIX, and there are 254 holdings into this ETF, and there is 63 million invested towards this ETF. Fully replicated type, and in the past 5 years it is up 72.58%. And look at the dividend yield. I promised you that there was another one with 5.68% dividend yield. Well, this is the one. And here as well, WisdomTree decided to go from 2 dividend payments per year, so January, July, to 4. So they included also April and October. And here you can see the dividend payments for this ETF in the past 12 months. So here the total expense ratio is lower. Maybe the previous one they should also lower a bit, and then maybe they will also increase their intake into that ETF. But once again, you also have to look at the performance, and if you look at the tables, the EEI and the DFE, they are bangling just at the bottom here. And also the 1 year performance is not that great if you compare it to all the other ones. So there, in fact, FLXD is the third one from the bottom up. And there, the IDVY one, the one that I said in the previous series that I made about high dividend yielding ETFs for European companies. There, I said that it's maybe a dividend trap because it really underperformed there. And since that video, it's almost 1.5 years ago, it really started performing exceptionally well. And this turned around the numbers quite exceptionally. So now it is up 29.06 in the past year. And in the past 3 years, it totally catched up with EUHD and even is catching up to XD3E. So it's quite nice to see that, and they are leaving FLXD in the dust in the past 3 years. So the past 5 years, FLXD is the best one so far. It also has the lowest total expense ratio of the bunch. So my wife and I are happy to see that. But maybe when I revisit this series next year, FLXD is again on the third or the fourth place. So that can definitely be the case. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to switch to IDVY or EUHD. I'm going to stick to FLXD. I like the way that they invest their money that they receive. I like the index. So yeah, I'm really happy to see it on top. I'm going to inform my wife after I stopped with recording this video, because I'm already working for 7 hours on all these videos, so I think my wife is a bit mad right now. So I think I'm going to stop recording for today, and then tomorrow, Sunday, I will continue with recording. I still have to record 3 more videos. So that will be it for today. And thank you for watching to this one. Please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Hitting that like button helps out the channel enormously as well. I know I'm more of an informative YouTube channel. I'm not that hyped. I don't have catchy tiles, or how do you call them in YouTube. I always have a white background and just the titles on them. So it's not that catchy, I know, but that's just the way that I am. I want to be informative, and what you see is what you get. So I want to distribute knowledge. And with that being said, thank you for watching this one, and see you on the next one on my YouTube channel. Bye.